Okay, so I posted a video about one of my about a case study, which was Lizzy, who was 50. She's been divorced for more than 10 years. And in that video, she didn't have enough income to qualify for Social Security, but she did qualify through her spouse. So the question was raised, well, what if I qualify and I don't qualify enough or as much? I believe that my spouse would, if I went through my spouse, I'd qualify for more, or my ex-spouse, I would qualify for more. Is that possible to be qualified for Social Security and then get it raised because of my ex-spouse has had a much higher income? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. I mean, the short answer is yes. It's not that straightforward, so I do think it's important that we go through it. So we're going to first start with Lizzy, and just to kind of remind ourselves who she is. Okay, so Lizzy Fancy, he's 50. She was married to Mr. Fancy, who is 62. She had about 5 years of professional earnings. She did have some part-time work in college and high school, which is going to get included. And instead of making $47,000 a year, she's going to make $10,000 a year working part-time. So let's take a look at what her earning record looks like. So we're going to share her earning record. Second. And that's right here. All right. So as you can see that she did work when she was 16 through 22 or through 21, and she made some money. And then when she graduated at 22, she started to make some good money, and she made all the way up to $50,000 a year, where she stopped working after she met Mr. Fancy, and they decided to make a family, right? So they were married for many, many years. They got divorced again in 2023. And then she is going to go back to work part-time. And she's going to make probably $10,000 a year for the rest of her working life. Okay. So in this situation, she's going to make more than $1 million in indexed earnings. As you can see, the earnings are kind of scaled up so that they're in current day dollars. And that comes out to about $2,414 per month. We go back to our calculation that we've been doing in almost every one of these conversations. From 0 to 1174, she gets 90%. Well, she has 2414, so she's certainly going to have that. And then anything over 1174 and lower than 7078 is going to be at 32%. So she had an extra 1240. That's going to be at 32%. So she's got a payment of 1453, right? And depending on what age she takes it, she will get, if she goes all the way up to 67, up to FRA, she'll get that payment, 1453, right? So we'll stop sharing this. And now we're going to go look at her, we're going to look at something else here. One second. All right. And then we're going to share what I'm calling her, I need to see. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. And then I'm going to go here to kind of her overall, the report I put together for her. And we're going to take a look at something here. So we're going to look at when she files at full retirement first. I think that's a good way to do it. So when she files at full retirement, it'll happen when she turns 67. She's going to get a retirement benefit roughly she's going to get 17,436. Okay. She is then, so in this scenario, to address the question that was answered, she's going to get her 17,436. That's not going to change, right? But because her spouse did have a much higher earning record, she's going to get part of his which would have been 50% of his payment, right? She's going to get her dollars grossed up. And so she's going to get the 17,436 and she's going to get an extra 6384. Okay. And she's going to, so that's going to take her up to 23,820. She only qualified for 17,436, 17,436, but because he had more earnings, she had to do that. So there is some filing implications to all of this. And so you can kind of reach out to me separately and kind of chat with me about that. If you have interest in that, there is a filing sequence that you have to follow. And we'll talk more about filing sequence maybe in my next longer video, but I won't get into that here. But one thing that's interesting is when she turns 74, she expects her husband will be 86 and he will have passed away, right? So that's what this model is based on. And so she loses the spouse benefit because he's no longer living, and she then is able to claim his survivor benefit, right? And so her total payment is going to go up from 23,820 to 59,076, and it will go until she passes away. In this model, we have it till 90, but that's that situation. And then if she were to claim earlier, if she claimed at 62, the numbers are, it's the same calculations, numbers are smaller because she claimed early. But given that you'll notice that the survivor benefit it goes up if she goes early. And we can kind of chat about that later when we talk about survivor benefits. So what I would do is just focus on the three pieces. So if we look at this again, if she goes on early, about 12,000, it will keep going up a little bit because she's got increased earnings going on here. And then if you look here, she's going to get the piece from him because her piece is very small. So that'll gross up a little bit more. And then she's going to get a larger piece of the spousal benefit. All right. So to answer the question is, you're going to get your Social Security. You're going to get, if your Social Security is lower than what you would have gotten from the spousal Social Security from your ex-husband or your ex-spouse, you will get additional funds for that. Right. And then when that person passes away, you'll get the spousal benefit. So there's three components of it. I do want you to think a little bit and be aware of the filing of how it needs to be filed for. Clearly, you would file for your piece first. You would then file for the spouse, and then you would file for the survivor. All right. Thank you for watching.